Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Sutta class that we have been conducting for the last 3 months. As I mentioned, the last Sutta class, we will have to do it a little differently because Bhante is not here. Bhante, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I don't think you can hear the mic because we are using the webcam and the web mic. So we'll be running it a little differently. You will be able to hear Bhante while he speaks, but if you have a question, you'll have to stand up and speak loudly, because the microphone is here on the PC. So you have to speak a bit loudly for Bhante to hear, right? So it could be in between. If you want to raise a question, raise your hand or just stand up, but speak loudly. If you're in the corner somewhere, suggest you come to the front or come to the side so that Bhante can actually see you or hear you rather than see you, hear you. Let's give it a try. Sister Serene, can you just say hello to Bhante from there? Stand up and just say hello. Let's see whether Bhante can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Can we raise the audio a bit? Bhante's audio a bit more. Okay. So you know that. See, that's the volume that she had. Bhante couldn't hear, but if you can speak loudly and clearly, he'll definitely hear you. Okay. So I think without much ado, it's already 8:30. I would now like to hand the stage to Bhante Dr. G.Chandima to start the Sutta class. Sadhu.
Thank you, Brother Leslie. Good evening, Dhamma friends. It's very nice seeing all of you this way, and I hope you will not be sleepy because I see some lights are dimming. So welcome back to the day 40 of the Monday BMV Sutta study. As you know that we discussed about the Noble Eightfold Path last couple of weeks, and we finally did a review of the Noble Eightfold Path on 25th. That was last Monday. So today we are going to discuss about the first noble truth, dukkhaṁ ariyasaccaṁ. Because we already discussed about the fourth noble truth as a part of the Majjhima Patipada. So this is what we are going to be discussing today. Before we get started, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Anybody has questions about the Noble Eightfold Path before we jump into the rest, in case you haven't been able to ask questions last Monday? I know that there were lots of questions, and I had to sort of interrupt them on that day. Okay, looks like me, not at the moment. So today, as I told you at the beginning, we will be discussing about the first noble truth. Why don't we discuss about the importance of the noble truths today a little bit, and then slowly move on to the first noble truth. Has anybody of you heard this? That seeing the noble truths, right? Seeing the Four Noble Truths is a blessing. Have you ever heard that? If you have heard that, where do you find it? Tapocha brahmacharyancha ariya saccana dassana. That means in the Mangala Sutta, very famous Mangala Sutta. In this Mangala Sutta, seeing the Four Noble Truths is a blessing. Dassana. Dassana means seeing. Now, in our case, are we knowing them or are we seeing them? What do we do with the Four Noble Truths? We are knowing them. We are trying to know them. We are trying to know what they are.
Recording in progress.
So, because knowing and seeing are very important things in the Buddhist text. If you have ever heard these two Pali terms, which you will be studying in a different sutta after Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, you will understand how important it is. Janatova passatova. Janatova passatova. If I write it here, you will understand a little bit better. It's given like this. Janato passato. So if I make it a little bit bigger. Now, janato means knowing, and passato means seeing. So it is the same concept here. That means seeing the noble truths. You can go to Mahamangala Sutta. You can see it somewhere here. Now here it has been differently translated, the perception of the noble truths and the realization of Nibbana. So basically it means ariyasaccaṁ dassana. Dassana is another term for passato. Okay. So that means knowing the noble truths is not enough. That means in order for us to get to that level of what you call capacity, we should be able to see them in our life. Normally, we are not able to see them in our life unless we are going to incorporate the Four Noble Truths into our daily activities, into our life, right? There's a word called ariya here. What does ariya mean? You can talk to me. I can hear probably. I know you can talk. What is ariya? Ariya means noble. Where does ariya come from? The Pali word ariya. Ariya, the word ariya comes from a very interesting point. You know that in India, it is said that some new civilized people from another, I would say, this is called northwestern India, came from, especially they are supposed to come from Persia, the modern Iraq and Iran. Of the word Arya comes from these Aryans who came from Persia to India. So they normally call Aryans are the superior, the best. So the use of the word called Arya comes from that noble perspective. So here, as you can see, second. So you can see it here, Ariya. So the word Ariya comes from that noble. Initially, it was, recognized as the name which was given to the people who came from Persia to India. But Arya later on was used as being noble. So today we are going to discuss, we are going back to the sutta again. So from 25th to 33. I think I would ask you to go to the sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's text. I think you all have it, right? So here we can see, Idang kopana bhikkhave dukkhaṁ ariyasaccaṁ, 25th. Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadipi dukkho, maranampi dukkhaṁ, appyehi sampayogo dukkho, pyehi vipayogo dukkho, yam picchaṁ na labati tampi dukkhaṁ, sankittena panchupadanakkhandha dukkha. Now these are the contents for the first noble truth. So we're going to be learning what the first noble truth is about with these contexts. Now in the note, what I have given to you is a comparison. You can see here, I have given the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's text again here. At the same time, I have compared it to the Saccavibhanga Sutta, because Saccavibhanga Sutta is the elaborated description of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's description. We may go there also. So that is what we need to understand about the noble. Then we have to understand dukkha, the word dukkha. What does dukkha mean? Because dukkha is the word that is appearing everywhere here. Here you can see that in the text, especially in other suttas, that dukkha has been given in many other formats. Now, there's an issue about the word called dukkha. The issue is that it has been translated in different ways. Now, the most famous translation for dukkha is suffering. Would you agree with that? Would you agree that dukkha can be better translated by the word called suffering? It cannot be. So the word dukkha has to be translated depending on the context. Right? Otherwise, we don't know. It is like many other Pali words. Now, if you look at sankhara, if you look at karma, if you look at, I would say, nibbana. So there are certain contexts that we have to understand before we translate. Now, dukkha primarily means an uneasiness, or I would say dissatisfaction, or unsatisfactoriness. Basically, it starts from there. Now, we will understand this issue while we are discussing about these aspects of the dukkha. So we translate dukkha to be unsatisfactoriness, although it is not the best choice, but we translate at this point dukkha to be unsatisfactoriness. Why do we do so? This could be the primary level of dukkha. Now, when a being is reborn in a place like hell, maybe in animal kingdom, as an animal, that particular being may suffer. That is also dukkha. But we cannot translate dukkha only by taking that high pain of that being who is going through that pain at that point. So we normally translate dukkha to be unsatisfactoriness, or I would say dissatisfaction. That is very important to think about here before we jump into the rest. Now, the basic word dukkha has been explained by Dukkata Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 45.165, as being three. Dukkha dukkata, sankhara dukkata, viparinama dukkata. Dukkha dukkata means the actual feeling of physical, mental pain. Right? The actual feeling. So I would say basically the pain, physical, mental pain. Sankhara dukkhata means the unsatisfactoriness or dissatisfaction produced by all conditioned phenomena. Sankharas. That dukkha comes from sankharas because we like sankharas. We don't like sankhara to go away from us. Third one is viparinama dukkhata. That means dissatisfaction with the changes. Like when things change, we don't like. Right? Now, once again, dukkha dukkhata, sankhara dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata. Dukkha dukkhata means the pain, whatever the pain you are going through based on anything in your life. That is called as dukkha dukkhata. Then sankhara dukkhata means whatever the pain you are going through because of the changes of the sankharas, because things are made out of sankhara. What is sankhara, Dhamma folks? Sankhara? Somebody should ask the first question here, online format. What is sankhara? Sankhara. S-A-N-K-H. Long A-R. Sankhara? A mental formation. But this sankhara is not that mental formation. Interesting. That is a different context. What is that context? Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankhara. That sankhara is what you call that sankhara is what you call mental formations, part of the five aggregates. But this sankhara is not the sankhara in the five aggregates. Where is this sankhara used? This is a very interesting, different context. What is this context? Sankhara and asankhara. Sankhara and asankhara. Let me write that for you here. Okay. Sankhara and sankhara. This is a different context. Sankhara means here this means condition. Condition, right? This means unconditioned. Or I would say condition and unconditioned, right? Now, what is condition mean? That we all are. How do we understand this point? Sankhara, asankhara. This is another context. How do we understand this? Now, when the Buddha was going to pass away, he addressed the monks and nuns and the people. What he said? What was his last word? What was his last statement to the community? His last sentence, last advice to everybody was, Vaya dhamma sankhara appamadena sampade. That means all conditioned phenomena are subject to change. Therefore, strive on with diligence, appamadi. That means sankhara means anything that is made out of something else. Are we sankharas? How are we sankharas? How have we become sankharas? I am made of my parents, and you are made up from your parents. This whole made up of something else. They are not unconditioned. So in this whole universe, everything is sankhara. Then what is the unconditioned? What is the asankhara? Now, if everything is sankhara, if everything is conditioned, A creates B, B creates C, C creates D, so all are conditioned together, right? So then, is there anything that is called asankhara? Yes. What is asankhara? Asankhara means, oh, really? No idea about it? This is what we are trying for. Nibbana, attaining Nibbana. Nibbana is the asankhara. Which means mental formations, karma. But sankhara in the conditioned, unconditioned context, it's a different other context. So there are many other contexts of sankhara. So here, which means sankhara means conditioned things. That means all that is made of something else. And unconditioned means nibbana. Now here, what does it mean by sankhara dukkha? We go by this point again here. See, sankhara dukkhata. What is it? That we are going through because of mental, physical things. And sankhara dukkhata means any pain that we are going through because of the nature of the conditioned phenomena. What are the pains that we may go through because of the conditioned phenomena? Now, say, for instance, that we were made by others, and things were made by others. They all are conditioned. Because of that, there are certain stages in those processes, maybe at the point of the end, at the point of the death, right? We are going to struggle. That is called sankhara dukkhata. Then viparinama dukkhata, it is the nature of the both of the previous. Now, when things change, it is more a happy change. Let's say you are getting promoted, your children getting, I would say, good scores in their classes. Then let's say you are getting lots of gains and you are not losing. There are also changes, right? But sometimes you feel you come up with happy tears too, right? People are crying for happiness too, right? Now you may see that people may go through very hard times just because they are having some bad things. They may be shedding tears, but on a different level, when they are so happy also, they are going to cry. Happy tears. But here, viparinama dukkha means the kind of the pain people go through when things change. Because not many people can understand, go through the changes, good or bad changes. But unfortunately, a lot of people only take changes from the negative side. In Buddhism, we take changes from all aspects, good, bad, or whatever the perspectives. So now, what you need to understand is that the word dukkha carries three different perspectives. Dukkha dukkhata, sankhara dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata. Pay more attention to these three, I might ask you somewhere in the discussion. All right, so then here you can see it is for the full comprehension, clear understanding, ending and abandonment of these three forms of unsatisfactoriness that the Noble Eightfold Path is to be cultivated. Noble Eightfold Path has to be cultivated to understand these three. But these three are very subtle. Why? Why they are very subtle? Because they are embedded in the Four Noble Truths, especially in the first three Noble Truths. So that's what we are going to investigate. All right, now let's go back again to the text. Number 1, Jatipi dukkha. Jatipi dukkha. Let me ask you, what is jati? Jati? Jati means birth. Birth. Jati means birth. Now some translate this to be rebirth, but jati means normally birth. It is said that birth, or I would say again, going to be reborn, rebirth, is dissatisfying or unsatisfactory. Is it so? Is jati dissatisfying to all of us? Tell me the truth. Depends on the place where we are going to be reborn. Can we make sure that we are going to be reborn in this particular place? Can we make sure? We cannot make sure. Even the very famous, very generous people also sometimes were reborn in bad places, even for a short time. One very good example is, can you give me an example for a very, very generous person who was reborn in a hell after the death? Malika. Right? Malika. What happened to Malika? Malika was the person who gave the greatest dana to the Buddha. That means only one person can give that greatest dana to one Samma Sambuddha. She did that. But because of something she had done, what happened was that just before she passed away, this came to her mind. And she was really self-hating about that particular event. And then she passed away and she was reborn in a hell for some time. That is why whatever you do in your life doesn't cost for the last moment sometimes. We believe that the habitual good karma can take you to a good place, but we don't know. The mind is very dynamic. It is changing all the time. That is why it is said, don't make mistakes. If you make a mistake, there's no choice sometimes. We try to make up our mind. There are so many incidents, also events we see that people went through, overcame their tiny, small things. But some people can mentally strong enough, because you are physically, mentally weak by that point, right? So the thing is that, going back to our topic, is that rebirth, or I would say birth, is dissatisfying according to Buddha. But you would see that it depends on the place. Let's say there is somebody who is going to die and to be reborn in another good human life. Is that person's life is dissatisfying? Dukkha? Is it? Is that person's life going to be dukkha? if that person is going to be reborn in a very good, noble, good family with all the good comforts? Not necessarily. But there is one sutta called Bala Pandita. What is it called? Bala Pandita. You have time, you can read this. It's called Bala Pandita. I'm only going to show you the suttas. This one. Bala Pandita Sutta. Right? This one. Majjhima Nikaya 129. In this sutta, we find a very interesting remark. It says that if you are an animal, if you are a person who was reborn in a place of hell, then the chances for you to be reborn in a human life is very rare. Right? It is just as one-eyed blind turtle is going to see outside of the ocean through the yolk that has come to the ocean in whatever the ways every 100 years. It's a very rare chance. But in our understanding, if you are a human and if you take care of other humans, if you do your human responsibilities to other people, there's a greater chance of you being able to be reborn as a human again. Now, I'm not trying to encourage you to think about that birth is not dissatisfying. I'm telling you, we have to look at the both sides. But the Buddha is taking this part called Jatipi Dukkha in a sense that generally speaking, Jati is a dissatisfying thing, because let's say you become a human again and then you die, you never know what is going to happen to you after that, right?
Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Yeah, but I cannot see the audience. Can you see? Oh, all right. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So, jati was given as dissatisfying because of a general way of looking at it, but there may be different ways of looking at it too. But generally, in terms of the sansaric life, jati could be an issue. That's why the Buddha says that it is a dukkha. Second is, as you can see here, is jara. Now, jara means, I would say, aging. Is aging a dissatisfaction too? Now, in our understanding that we would like to age graciously, not age premature, right? Some people go through some premature aging, right? It is because of some stressful events. It is because of sometimes there are genetic issues. But the Buddha says is that aging could be a dissatisfying, unsatisfactory process to many people. Especially when you find out the first white hair, the first broken tooth, and the first wrinkle, right? Ever since that day, you will have certain different responses to the body. We are not able to mostly accept these changes in our life. So it is kind of a dissatisfying moment. But there are people who understand their body, who understand what's happening to them. But the Buddha says generally, aging is a dissatisfying, unsatisfactory thing to many people. Jati, jara, then we come down to vyadi. Vyadi. What does vyadi means? Vyadi means sickness. So now this is something very interesting. I think a lot of people, they undoubtedly, without a second chance, they say that sickness is definitely a pain, especially mental sickness too, mental and physical. So the Buddha says that even he himself could not overcome some of the sicknesses. It is said that he went through some of the very chronic diseases just before he passed away. Some people say it's cholera, some people say it's dysentery. He had a migraine, he had a back pain, right? So there are different things that we know about the Buddha's life when he was sick. And there were arahants who got sick. If you go to Bojjhanga Suttas, you see how arahants got sick, right? The Buddha went to Arahant Mahakassapa, Arahant Mahamoggallana, Kacchite Kassapa Kamaniyam, Kacchiyapaniyam, Kacchi Dukkha Vedana. Can you tolerate? Can you manage? What did the Arahants tell the Buddha? Arhan Mahakassapa and Arhan Moggalla, Bhante, we cannot tolerate. We cannot manage the pain. That means Arahants also feel a great amount of pain when they are going through sicknesses. So definitely sickness. When it comes to us, normal people, if you can see in today's world, when somebody is going through a chronic issue, maybe a cancer, maybe other issue, how much pain that person is going through. We are trying to teach people to understand what's going on at the same time, going by the medical treatments. Definitely, it is a dissatisfaction, dukkha. And then marana. Maranampi dukkhaṁ. Now, this is interesting. How do we understand marana? Has anybody studied about marana, death, in the Buddhist perspective? Now, the Buddha is not concerned about the death. You see, he is mostly concerned about killing. We should not kill any being. We are not supposed to kill any being. But death is inevitable to all of us. So, how do we understand death in the Buddhist perspective? I think we already discussed about it. I shared with you about 2 types of deaths in my Noble Eightfold Path sessions. Could you remember what they are? Kanika Marana and Sammuti Marana. What's the first one? Kanika Marana. If you cannot remember, probably write down here. What is Kanika Marana? Kanika Marana is momentary death. Are we dying every moment? Yeah, every moment we are dying. Our cells are dying. That is how we becoming age. Right? We call it, Buddha calls it momentary death. Kanika Marana. So that is happening all the time. But we don't see it. We don't look at it in that proper way. You can see it here. Kanika Marana. Kanika means moment. Momentary death. It's Kanika Marana. Then we have the famous, what you call the popular way of looking at the death. We call it Sammuti Marana. Sammuti Marana means this conventional death. The death that we all going to, what you call, experience some point of our life. But we are experiencing the both. So here when you say Marana, it is the both. So Marana is dissatisfying. But do we take Kanika Marana to be dissatisfying? We don't see it that much. But when you take it from the Jara point of view, aging point of view, you might say, yes, I can feel now I am a little older. I have become old. I know that when I look back the time, how I did my things, I cannot do the same amount of things now compared to my 20 years back time, right? So you would see that Kanika Marana has come down to you in the form of aging, Jara. But anyways, when you say Marana, Marana has both perspectives, Kanika Marana and Sammati Marana. The Buddha says this is dissatisfying. Right? And then Appiyehi Sampayogo Dukkho. This one. This is interesting. Appiyehi means, who are Appiyehi? Who is Appiyehi here? People who you don't like. People who you don't like. So here, appiyehi sampayogo. Sampayogo means being with people who you don't like is dissatisfaction, or I would say dukkha. Is it dukkha? It is a dukkha, right? Appiyehi sampayogo dukkha. Sampayogo means being with the appiyehi. That means people who you don't like. Now, if there is somebody in the group of you, in any group that you are joining with, maybe outside, inside, in your family circles, work circles, you might not like that idea to be with the people who you don't like. It is a dissatisfaction. But the question here is that, can we always be with the people who we like? Is it easy? Now, there are people, you are invited for a certain event and you're secretly checking out. Is that person also attending the event too? Why? Because you want to make sure, okay, I'm going to come. Don't worry. Because you are so much worried about this appiyehi sampayogo dukkha. It's a dukkha to you. Dissatisfaction. Right? You're secretly checking out who is coming over there. Right? The Buddha said this is really a dissatisfaction in our life. That's why we always try to connect to the people we like wherever we go, whatever we do, right? So that gives us lots of happiness, yes, because we like those people to be around. And finally, you can see here the opposite. Piyehi vipayogo dukkho. Piyehi means people who you like. Vipayogo means separation. So, separation from the loved ones, separation from the people who you like is a dissatisfaction. Now, this is, of course, very clear to all of us. When you are leaving from the loved ones, it is definitely a dissatisfying moment in your life. So here, as you can see, that most of the aspects of the First Noble Truth is actually they going around our next life and this life. Jati, Jara, Vyadi, Marana, Appiyehi Sampayoga, and Piyehi Vipayoga. Now, the next two are very important. If I can show you. Yang pichang na labati tampi dukkha, sankitte panchupadanakkhandha dukkha. Yang pichang na labati. Now you are expecting something, yang pichang, but na labati, you don't get it. You expect something, but you don't get it. Do you normally get everything you expect in your daily life or in your life? Not all the time. But sometimes when you are not getting things that you don't expect, could go in a good way also. We never know, but we expect that, okay, I would better have it, but we don't get it. But we get it something different. Maybe we get something different. Maybe we get a different thing. But this different receiving of that particular thing that we expected can be a blessing to us, right? It could be a blessing to us. But in our life, we are expecting a lot of things, but we don't get what we really expected all the time. Sometimes we get it, but most often we don't get it. So it is a dissatisfaction. So how many people commit suicide? How many people take their life? How many people just harm other people? How many people mess up in their life because they cannot get over the feeling that they could not get what they wanted. It is definitely a dissatisfaction. Yam pichang na labati. Na labati means not getting what that person expected there. Finally, this is very interesting. Sankittena. Sankittena means in brief, in short. Panchupadana kanda dukkha. Now this word you may know, kanda. What is kanda? What does kanda mean here? Kanda means 5 aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vinyana. Now the problem is not with the 5 aggregates. The problem is when you bring upadana to 5 aggregates. So now the Buddha says, if anybody does not understand the First Noble Truth under these aspects, Jatipi dukkha, Jarapi dukkha, Vyadhipi dukkha, Maranampi dukkha, then Api sampayogo dukkha, Pi vipayogo dukkha, Yam pichang lapatitampi dukkha, then I'm going to tell them a short way to understand the First Noble Truth. It is this one, 33. Sankirtana, in short, the clinging to the 5 aggregates is dukkha. That means whatever the things happening to you with jati, jara, vyadi, marana is all have to be understood by this phenomenon. That means all those aspects of the dukkha come from clinging to the 5 aggregates. That means you have a clinging to the 5 aggregates when you understand jati, jara, vyadi, marana and all that. That means in each aspect of the dukkha, what you see is that you are creating, you are developing, clinging to your 5 aggregates. Can we do a sample example here? Now let's take the vyadi. Vyadi means sickness. How do we know the clinging to the 5 aggregates over there? How does vyadi becomes a dissatisfaction through the clinging to the 5 aggregates? Now, let's say that you have a mental pain, right? You have a pain in your mind. Maybe you have depression, you have stress, you have anxiety and all that. Maybe at that point, what's happening is that you are, if you look at it in a very simple or maybe in clear way, you will see that the reason of that depression, the reason of that anxiety, the reason of that stress, because there is an event where you have clung to those 5 aggregates, maybe to your rupa, maybe to your different feelings of that particular event, maybe to the perceptions of that something, maybe to the mental formations, maybe to your own consciousness. So that means next time when somebody asks you, please tell me the First Noble Truth in very short, how would you respond to that person? Now, let's say someone might tell you, I don't understand this jati dukkha, jara dukkha and all that. What is the First Noble Truth? Tell me in plain English. How do you respond? You would answer that person, all these aspects of the dukkha can be simply given in a very short statement. What is that short statement? In a very short way, that means all these aspects of the dukkha means that in each dukkha, what is happening or what has happened is that there's a clinging that has been developed towards the 5 aggregates. That's it. That means all our dukkha come from a clinging to our own 5 aggregates. Be that jati, be that jara, be that vyadi, marana, whatever the things. Now let's take the appiyehi sampayogo dukkha. That means being with the people who you don't like. Do you see any clinging here? Where's the clinging here? That being with the people who you don't like. It is a dukkha. It has become a dukkha. Now let's take the clinging to the five aggregates phenomenon here. How do we relate it to? Where's the clinging? Clinging means you are overly attached to the people who you like. Then who you are hating the people who you don't like. Then in the two aspects of that liking and disliking, you have created some clinging towards your own five aggregates. Not even to your own five aggregates, but also to other people's five aggregates too. Right? In the same way, we have to understand the first noble truth this way. Any questions before we jump into some other points here? I just want to know whether you understood today, because I'm doing this online. I just want to know whether you clearly understand or not. Any questions about things we discussed so far? Yeah. How do we understand dukkha? What are the primary? There are three primary ways to understand dukkha. We discussed at the beginning. What are those three? Sankhara dukkhata, no. Dukkha dukkhata. Second, sankhara dukkhata. Third, viparinama dukkhata. Now this is very important in understanding the dukkha. So dukkha dukkhata means any pain that arises from your body and the mind. We call it dukkha dukkhata. And then sankhara dukkhata means, what is it? How did I explain to you about sankharas today? How did I explain to you? I explained to you sankhara has different contexts, right? Remember? Now, first context is the sankhara in the five in the sankhara dukkhata. Now, sankhara is a different context here. Sankhara means condition phenomena. Condition and decondition asankhara. That means when we are dealing with the conditioned things, that means we are conditioned, other people are conditioned, our loved ones are conditioned, our real estate, everything is conditioned. When we are dealing with these things and people, we have to expect certain changes. Maybe more changes might be happening, right? So when these changes are happening, there is some kind of dukkhata. Third one is viparinama dukkhata. Viparinama dukkhata means pain, or I would say dissatisfaction that arises when things change, basically. Now, this has to take from the both sides, good changes and bad changes. All right, so until you come up with a question, I'm going to continue the rest. So from, I would say, what we did here was that Idang ko pana bhikkhave dukkhaṁ ariyasaccaṁ. Now this, monks, is the noble truth of unsatisfactoriness. Jatipi dukkha, birth is dissatisfying. Jarapi dukkha, aging is dissatisfying. Vyadipi dukkho, illness is dissatisfying. Maranampi dukkhaṁ, death is dissatisfying. Appiyehi sampayogo dukkho. Sampayogo means being with. Appiyehi means people you don't like, is dissatisfying. Piyehi vippayogo dukkho, separation. Vippayogo means separation. Sampayogo could be translated as union, or being together also. Separation from PA means loved ones is satisfaction. Yang pi ichang. Ichang means wants. Yang means something that you wish something, but na labati, you don't get it. Tampi dukkhaṁ, it is also dissatisfying. I think this is the dissatisfaction of many people, because they're expecting a lot of things, but somehow they don't get it for whatever the reason, and they are not able to put it this way, that this is one of the dissatisfaction. Finally, sankirtena panchu padana kanda dukkha. In brief, it is none other than clinging to the 5 aggregates, or 5 aggregates subject to clinging is what you call by dissatisfaction. Let's go back again to our notes here. So I wanted to discuss with you this interesting point, the broad description that we see in the Satchavibhanga Sutta about the first noble truth, Majjhima Nikaya 141. I have given the link here. Now, see how did the Arahant Sariputta explain the first noble truth to other monks? Now, when you see the explanation given by Arahant Sariputta, you will see that the Buddha only minimally explained the Four Noble Truths, because Buddha simply wanted to explain the Four Noble Truths to the 5 ascetics. Now, when you look at the Satchavibhanga Sutta's explanation, because I want to connect these suttas to your understanding, so then you will not only understand the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, but also the connected other suttas. So it will give you a very good understanding. See that. We're going to be reading a couple of things. Kataman chavaso dukkhaṁ ariyasaccaṁ jatipi dukkha jarapi dukkha maranampi dukkha. Here, soka parideva dukkha domanassupayasapi dukkha. Now, we don't see this in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Soka means what you call sorrow. Parideva means lamentation. These 2 words are interesting. Dukkha here again means, we call it physical pain. And domanassa means mental pain. Now, according to the Satchavibhanga Sutta, it is said that dukkha and domanassa are 2 types of dissatisfaction. Dukkha means physical pain. Domanassa means mental pain. Dukkha and domanassa. As you can see here, dukkha and domanassa. Dukkha means physical pain, and domanassa means mental pain. So now these are new additions to the sutta. Actually, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's explanation. So we have to understand them separately in order for us to have a good understanding. Then see how Arahant Sariputta explains jati. Katamacha jati. I'm not going to read the Pali a lot because to save the time, as you can see, and you can read later. And what is rebirth? The rebirth, inception, conception, rebirth, I would say, manifestation of the 5 aggregates, acquisition of the sense fields of the various sentient beings. This is called rebirth. Now, when you look at it, what do you think about them books? Is it more elaborated than the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta or not? Satchivibhanga Sutta is very explained, more elaborated. That means you need to read Satchivibhanga Sutta also to have a full understanding about the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Next is Jara. What is Jara? Now, it's interesting here. What is old age or aging? The old age, decrepitude, broken teeth, gray hair, wrinkles, diminished vitality, and failing faculties of the various sentient beings. This is called Jara. This is called Jara. Now, in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, simply say Jara. Jara api dukkhaṁ. Does it explain more? It doesn't explain anything more. So we have to come back to the Satchivibhanga Sutta to understand what Jara means, what Jati means, and all this. And then let's go to the Marana. What is death? The passing away, perishing, disintegration, demise, mortality, death, disease, breaking up of the five aggregates. Interesting. Laying to rest of the corpse, cutting off the life faculty of various sentient beings. This is called Marana. Interesting. Very well explained. And then Soka. Now, these are new terms. Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa. These are not mentioned in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Now, why? What do you think about why did the Buddha not explain these words in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta? Any thoughts? What was it? The reason is, yes, Buddha only wanted to give his teachings to 5 ascetics. But now here, what is happening is that the Buddha asked Arahant Sariputta to initiate this talk, Satchivibhanga Sutta. Then he picked up Bhante Sariputta. The reason is that only Arahant Sariputta can clearly explain most of the Dhamma matters. Then Arahant Sariputta picked up the whole abstract of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta in its entirety, and then he explained one by one, sometimes breaking the existing Dhamma matters into other certain subdivisions so that people can understand better in a lucid way. That is why you see Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa, which you don't see in the Dhammacakkappavattana. Actually, it is good because when you understand Soka means sorrow, grief, Parideva, lamentation. And Dukkha means physical pain. Now that Dukkha and main Dukkha is different. It's a different connotation. And Domanassa is mental pain. Upayasa, despair, disappointment. Those are, they are not Arahant Sariputta's innovations. They are Buddha's ones. But Buddha only wanted to teach the Dukkha, the Four Noble Truths in such a way because his audience was the 5 ascetics. But here this audience was mainstream Sangha by Arahant Sariputta. Let's go back. As you can see, lamentation, you can read whenever you are free. Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa. Here we have to explain. Yam piccang labetampi dukkhaṁ. And then you can see here. Now, what is yam piccang lalapati tampi dukkhaṁ? In sentient beings like us who are liable to be reborn, such a wish arises. Oh, if only we were not liable to be reborn. If only rebirth would not come to us. But you can't get that by wishing. This is not getting what you wish for is dissatisfaction in living beings who are liable to grow old. Actually, in our life, we all know that Jati, Jara, Vyadi, Marana, they are dangerous aspects of our sansaric life. But just because we don't like them, Do we not get them in our future lives? No. If we don't ask to practice, but we are supposed to practice. Now, finally, I want to bring up this thing before any questions. How many of you have read the Sutta Ariyasaccaṁ explained to you many times in our sessions? In the Ariyasaccaṁ Sutta, it is mentioned that there are two types of search. One is noble search, the other one is ignoble search. What is noble search and what is ignoble search? That is very interesting. So, noble search, ignoble search means if someone is if someone is struggling with what you call jati, jara, vyadi, marana, but still looking for the jati, jara, vyadi, marana, that is called ignoble search. All right. Now you are born, you're still looking for another birth, and you are going through jara, aging, you're still looking for another aging life. And if you are going through sicknesses, you are still going for another life with health. And if you are struggling, if you are going through death one day, and you are looking for another life of death, that is called ignoble search, ariyasaccaṁ. Then if you are born and you know the issues with the birth, according to the Four Noble Truths explanation, you are not looking for another birth. It is called ariyasaccaṁ, noble search. And if you are already going through your aging, and you know that you don't need to have this happen again, and you are looking for what you call ageless life, that means nibbana. And if you are going through sicknesses, you are looking for what you call the opposite of sicknesses, that means attaining nibbana one day. And you are going through death one day, you don't want to die again, that means attaining nibbana. That is called ariyasaccaṁ. Now, if you look at the First Noble Truth, you can see most of those aspects are connected to the First Noble Truth. So if you not only know what they are, if you can see them in your daily life, then you are creating a blessing. You are creating a mangal. That is what we have to understand with that point, with the Four Noble Truths. First Noble Truth. All right, any questions for today? I think yeah, very clear. Yeah. Talk like this, very clear. I think you gave the answers too. Yes, your question had answers too. I would say now definitely you can see the, the 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 pets passing away, which happen all of a sudden, unfolds the first noble truth very easily to you personally, right? So that is the first thing I wanted to share. Second thing is that in Buddhist understanding, when something happens like that, the first thing to do is to accept, being able to accept that thing. Because without accepting, we are going to struggle a lot, right? Accepting is a part of, it's a big part of the Four Noble Truths, right? And as you said, yes, if you have any remaining, I would say, greed, attachment, or maybe the hatred about why it happened so quick. You know? So we have some self-hatred about why things happen so fast, so quick. Why it would have not taken some more years, maybe many much longer time. Why it happened so fast? So we kind of having some dosa to the event, dosa to other people involved. So in that case, what we need to develop is that we have to clearly bring the Sankittena Panchapadana theory. That means that the dissatisfaction overall arises, being maintained and pervading all the time because we are clinging to the aggregates of other people or our own aggregates. That is why there is any dissatisfaction. If you totally understand what happened, and if you totally understand the viparinama dukkha, changes of everything, if you totally understand that the pet is also sankhara, pet is sankhara, made by somebody else. So then your dukkha will be diminished and reduce. It takes time. You can't just find an easy, easy thing right away. It takes time, but as you said, yes, accepting, trying to understand how much clinging that was involved with the person, in this case, the pet, and how you would think about the memories with the pet and all that. So all this is included with some kind of clinging to the particular person. So then if you understand this over time, you will understand by yourself. I always tell people, it takes time. It takes time to understand, but I think you have the proper, what do you call, mindset to understand it. Yes. It's a good question, actually. Yes. That is what we said, ariyasaccaṁ dassana. You don't need to just know the noble truth. You have to see them in your life. Now, as this lady mentioned, yes, you have to see them in your real life, with your loved ones, with maybe your people who you don't like, right? So then, of course, you understand, oh, yes, it really manifests. It really makes clear to me with my personal events in my life, my family events. All right, any other questions? I hope that you can still stand up from your place and then you can ask. I think the voice should come to me. You don't need to come to the front. I hope. If you talk a bit louder. So until you ask a question, next Monday, what we are going to be doing is the second noble truth. So the second noble truth going to be starting from 34 up until you had to talk about karma tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha, and all that. So that's a very interesting area too. All right, looks like no questions, huh? Okay, if you have no more questions, we're going to be wind this up by transferring good karmas to the departed ones and sharing good karmas with the Deva, Naga, Mahika. May all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today by listening to this sort of discussion about the first noble truth, dukkha, ariyasaccaṁ, be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of you. If the departed ones were reborn in a place of pain, discomfort, may they be able to be released from those places of pain. If they were reborn in a place of comfort, happiness, may they be able to improve those lives. And they practice more than mind. Finally, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me jati nang hutu sukita huntu jati. Idam me jati nang hutu sukita huntu jati. Idam me jati nang hutu sukita huntu jati. May Deva, Naga, Mahitika receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of you, your family members, and everybody for good health, quality of life, prosperity, and safety. In particular, may Deva, Naga, Mahitika bless your spiritual journey till you attain Nibbana. Finally, may Deva, Naga, Mahitika also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambataṁ punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambataṁ punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambataṁ punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahindika punyathaṁ anumoditva chirang rakkhantu lokasasanaṁ. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahindika punyathaṁ anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahindika punyathaṁ anumoditva chirang rakkhantu maṁ paranti chirang rakkhantu maṁ sadati. In this endless samsaric journey, may we be able to be in the company of the Kalyana Mitras. May Kalyana Mitras always support us, deepen our Dhamma practice. May we be not in the company of the Papa Mitras. Thinking thus, we're going to make the wish. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yaveni bala patya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today in all these ways be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silisse niccang vaddha prachayino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate saminchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. The sutta study for today is over. Wishing you a good night and take care and see you then next Monday for the second noble truth, the dukkha samudaya ariyasaccaṁ.
Thank you, Bhante, for conducting this online course. And today, this class, we noticed there are some teething problems. The internet was down for a little while. There's some buffering. We hope to resolve that soon. I was told that the internet was, I was thinking it was on your end, but apparently it was on our end. So we need to strengthen our internet signals here by the next class. Also to inform you that we have Professor Chandima, another professor, Professor Chandima, Vijay Bandara, who's here, and also Bhante Sumangla, who's attending your class. Bhante, you can't see them; they're hiding in the side. So, anyway, Professor Chandima will also be conducting some Dhamma talks over the next 2 weeks. He'll be here for 2 weeks, and after which Bhante Sumangla will be conducting the Friday. And Sunday talks here for October. So you can, if you're free on Fridays and Sundays as well, you can attend both Professor Chandima as well as Bhante Sumangala's Dhamma sharing. Okay, with that, we'll come to the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing. Thank you, and please pass the word around. I think many of those who attended the previous class are a little confused about this class. They thought they can do it at home. You know, there are so many messages. Can we listen to Bhante from home? The idea is actually to get everyone together. Bhante wanted some socializing that happens when you meet in a class. As he mentions, Kalyana Mitra. So if you're doing it at home, there's no interaction, there's no social bonding. So I think Bhante's idea was to get everyone back here, even though he's not here, to carry on the class. So pass the word around to whoever who missed today, to come back next Monday to attend the classes on Monday nights. Okay, thank you. Good night.